Hello, I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. Well, have you bought your bread and milk? Americans along the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast are bracing for a powerful winter storm, threatening to dump more than 2 feet of snow on the nation's capital. The state of New Jersey, along with several other states, is now under a blizzard warning, but one New Jersey boy won't be battening down the hatches at home, and that is Governor Christie, who is opting instead to remain in New Hampshire on the campaign trail in his bid for the Republican presidential nomination. But does Governor Christie have an obligation to return home during this weather crisis? And joining me to weigh in are political strategist Basil Smikle Jr. and Cathy Lynn Taylor. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay, Cathy, I want to talk with you first because this is not an isolated incident. 5 years ago, Governor Christie remained on his vacation in Florida during Superstorm Sandy. And we know what happened with that. New Jersey suffered immense economic and emotional trauma over that. So what is your read on this?
This is not the right decision, and I'm really surprised, given his past history, that this is what he's choosing to do. You know, we're in a bit of a sprint. There's a feeling about that for the candidates over the next couple of weeks, but it's still early. 8 weeks from now, it will be late, but right now it's still early, and the right thing to do is to be with the people of whom you govern. You know, every city mayor, every state governor has learned this over time when there's been a big storm and he hasn't been there. Now, you never know with these storms if they're going to hit or not, of course. But there's absolutely nothing in New Hampshire that is that compelling for 1 day or 2 days that he can't be there. This is why he's had low favorability ratings in New Jersey. He's started to overcome those, and so I find it interesting at a time where he's starting to actually rebound from some of the challenges that have plagued him, that he's going to make a repeat of a bad decision.
Kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit right here.
It is.
Because he says he's going to come back if it warrants, Basil. But the idea, though, that he can monitor from New Hampshire what's going on in New Jersey. But is that still a good thing to be saying?
No, not at all. What warrants you coming back? Does somebody have to die? Do you have to have massive loss of property? What's that threshold? And that's where it gets really dicey. I absolutely agree that I do think, you know, as his numbers were getting better, this is not the thing to do. We can, or voters can excuse if you have gone away with your family on vacation, but you're choosing to do something that is inherently and obviously political, as opposed to being at home to do the job that the people of New Jersey elected you to do. To me, that's a dereliction of duty, and I am shocked that he would still be doing this.
And boy, does it take the wind out of his sails with regard to the Rubio argument he always makes, that Rubio hasn't shown up for work at Congress, when Christie's missed actually as much, if not more, of his on-site obligations in New Jersey. You know, everybody works remotely nowadays, but the reality is this is potentially a serious situation. He should be there. It's not a partisan issue. It's a character and a leadership issue.
That's right.
You know, what should be the standard, though? Like, what point? What is the criteria by which, you know, you have to return to your constituents? You have to be there with them. What's the criteria? Because obviously he can monitor the weather from Mars with the technology.
Right. Well,
he might have better luck predicting it.
Right, and that's an interesting question, because look, if you have decided to go away with your family on vacation, that's one thing. But if you get to a place where you know that the residents are going to require you to manage multiple agencies, that you have to coordinate operations, maybe even bring out National Guard depending on the severity of the crisis, that you should be there to do that. You should be on the ground. But this is something different. He is campaigning. He doesn't have to do this. This is not like he's going away with his family on a pre-planned trip. So to me, there's nothing that should require him to be elsewhere when the entire eastern seaboard is bracing for a blizzard. Every mayor and every governor is talking about it. He may be talking about it, but he's not talking about it with his constituents. All
right, so, Cathy, he's in New Hampshire.
Right.
How does this affect the larger constituents? I mean, people who don't live in New Jersey may not know this is going on. But if one of his competitors actually brings up the issue that he wasn't there, how is that going to affect the voters at large?
Well, I think it becomes a leadership issue, and I think that's what people are starting to talk about. This is election more than any election that we've seen in a very long time. This is an election about values and about what you stand for. It's not, at this point yet, an election just about being or just about adhering to a certain policy. And that's what's really changed the tone of this election. And so when you look at values and you look at leadership and you look at the ability to get things done, I don't know how you can advocate for yourself according to those standards if you're not there and you're not present.
And it's interesting, I will just add quickly, on the Republican side, what we've seen this year is an interesting turn from what we've seen in presidential campaigns in the past, where usually governors, because of their executive ability and power, are pushed to the forefront. But now you have legislators, mostly senators, are sort of taking the spotlight in this election. So it's interesting to me that voters see that the way to solve some of their problems is through D.C. and not through sort of executive power of their local government, which is interesting.
Interesting. All right, thank you so much, Basil and Cathy, for being here.
Thank you.
For more on the 2016 presidential race, go to foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.